I've been practicing witchcraft for over 10 years, close to 12 years now, and today I thought it would be a good idea to share with you some of the things I wish I knew before I began practicing witchcraft. Through these almost 12 years of practice, there has been so much growth and change in my practice and in myself. I've learned so much, and I have made it my purpose to share and educate on this topic. I made a video similar to this 4 years ago, sharing the things I wish I had known then. And I figured, since it has been a third of my time practicing since I posted that it would be beneficial to share that again. Some of my feelings are the same, and there are also some things that are new that I wish to share. I do believe that this will be a multi-part series, so this will be part 1 of the things I wish I knew, and I will be sharing more soon. In planning this video, I spent a lot of time reflecting to when I first began practice. At the time, I was so confused. I felt really overwhelmed by all of the information that was there. I didn't know what to trust. I didn't know what everything meant, and I just had no idea where to begin. I felt like I needed to know everything and understand everything right away to even begin moving forward, and that just seemed like such an impossible task. But now that I've been practicing for nearly half of my life and teaching for, oh my goodness, 6 years at this point on the topic, practice feels like this inextricable part of me. So if you are just beginning or are trying to get back into it and are feeling overwhelmed, then this video is for you. It's for those of you that are just beginning your path that I first began this channel to teach and educate, to share my style of practice and open the door to your own practices. And it's also why I wrote my book, which I believe to be a very powerful resource for those of you just beginning. It will walk you through all of the steps and take the beginner to the intermediate. And today, with those credentials, I want to offer some insight on the things I wish I knew to help you step into practice confidently and with ease. But before we dive in too deep, I do want to talk about today's sponsor for this video, Skillshare. As you probably noticed if you've been here for a while, I love to bake, but sourdough is something I've never really delved into. It's something I've wanted to learn about for so long, but I've just never known where to begin. But with classes on Skillshare, it has become something easy and achievable. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives, with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and more. Skillshare can help you to take your work, hobbies, and passions to the next level. Beyond just classes, Skillshare also offers learning paths, which are curated sequential class collections that allow you to master a specific skill in one go. I've been exploring their classes on film and video, creative careers, as well as crafts and DIY. Each of these categories offers so many classes that I've been enjoying, and even more that I can't wait to explore after I finish going through my current class on sourdough baking. The sourdough baking class takes you through the complete process of making a sourdough loaf and all the techniques and important concepts needed to craft one with artisan quality. This month, Skillshare is focusing on the theme of creativity as a practice. What if we held our creativity to the same standards as health and wellness, giving it the time and opportunity to grow? On Skillshare, you can practice your creative muscles in any discipline that inspires and empowers you. For me, this is expanding into new areas of baking that I haven't previously explored. So if this sounds interesting to you, the first 500 people to use the link in my description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into it. The first thing I wish I knew when I first began practicing witchcraft was that it's okay to not know everything right away. And honestly, you probably won't know everything ever, and that's okay. Witchcraft is a lifelong journey. There are so many different paths and areas of study. Things will constantly be evolving and growing, and it is something that takes time to build a personal connection with. When you first begin, you are going to be flooded with so much information on all of these different ways of practice and different things to do. At the time, I felt like I needed to understand everything and pick a path forward that was specific. But as with any skill, knowing everything right away is rather impossible. And if you feel that way, it's not going to be easy to proceed. You aren't supposed to know everything right away. Witchcraft and this style of practice is not cut and dry. It is something that is so rich and diverse. And because of that, there isn't one right way of practice. So knowing everything about every style of practice in order to proceed forward is just not a very feasible thing. And that's okay. You're supposed to accumulate knowledge as you go and test out the waters, trying things that feel comfortable to you and intriguing. As you explore, your knowledge base will grow, and one day you will look back and be surprised by how far you've come. One thing that I recommend in the very beginning, or really at any point, is to take notes on anything and everything. It doesn't even have to make sense to you. Have a scrap notebook, or what I typically do is I have a basket that I fill with papers of notes that I'll go through later when I have time, and write down all of these concepts and ideas. Sometimes I'll write down things that I develop a really deep understanding of, and when I flip through these notes, it's kind of exciting to see what I was confused about and now know so deeply. Or I'll come across things that I never really delved into and have now a baseline understanding of and can explore deeper. Other times I'll have notes on things that I have tried to dabble in and realize that it's just not a path for me. But having all of these notes and all of these areas that I have kind of peered through the doorways of allows me to proceed on a path forward without losing any of this information and areas of exploration. In this sense, you can always walk forward and make sure that you aren't missing out on anything that you may want to delve into. There's no wrong place to begin and no wrong area of study to start with. And by keeping a list, you're able to collect the things that you may want to delve into or may not ever really be interested in ultimately, but you won't be as overwhelmed because you'll have the ideas there ready to delve into later. Again, witchcraft is a lifelong journey. It's something that will build and develop alongside you as you grow. So give it the space so that you can take your time and develop it alongside yourself in a way that is comfortable and exciting. Truly, there is no wrong place to start, and you don't have to know everything right away, or ever. Now, the second thing that I wish I knew when I first began practicing witchcraft is that intent is one of the most important things for you to learn and develop. Intent is the base purpose and energy put behind a spell. It can be the entirety of a spell, in a sense. It is such an essential component to practice and to spell work that really honing in and developing that skill is an essential piece of moving forward with spell work. Now, I know that that may seem a little bit overwhelming, but don't worry, it's not. It is something that we all do subconsciously all the time. Think about coincidences. Often these are moments of us working intent and spell work without ever even really realizing it. But in order to begin consciously crafting spells, we have to develop our intent. Now, I do have a video on intent, and I will link that down below. And I also have an entire chapter on intent in my book that delves into it deeply with a bunch of practices and the different ways that we engage with intent. The way that everybody works with intent is going to be very unique and different, and that is how it's supposed to be. So it is something that is a little bit larger than what this video is meant to be. Luckily for you, I do have other things that will delve into it if you would like to build on that practice. But it is such an essential piece of spellcraft and practice in general. So if you are looking to build that skill, go ahead and check out that video, or again, there is a chapter in my book. But again, it is something that we do subconsciously all the time. Intent is such an integral part of being a human and walking through life, so it is something that we all do have a grasp on. It's just learning how to consciously weave that into spellcraft that is something that is a unique experience and a practice to, well, practice. Additionally, I do think that intent is something that is not touched on very deeply by educators on the craft, and I have tried to define it very clearly and add practices that are accessible for all practicing. So if you are confused by intent, those resources should help clarify it and offer you a way to really build on that skill. The third thing that I wish I knew when I first began practicing witchcraft kind of builds on intent, and it's that you don't need anything fancy to begin practicing. I think a lot of us are drawn to witchcraft by the tools and the aesthetics of it, but they aren't really a necessary part of practice. Certainly, they can add power to practice and spells, but they are more of a means of honing in and directing intent and energy. They can add inflections, they can add power, but tools and ingredients are not the entirety of spellwork. The base of spellwork is intent. And so if you wish to begin practice, you don't need to build this whole large arsenal of tools and ingredients. You can begin with just yourself and just what you have in your home. Most of my tools and ingredients that I use in my practice are quite practical. Spoons and jars and bowls. Of course, it has been a long time and I have found some tools that I do enjoy, such as burning herb bundles and candles. But the vast majority of what I work with was already in my home or are things that I can craft for free from nature. Tools and ingredients are valuable allies to practice, but they are not the whole thing. And having tools and ingredients does not automatically create successful spellwork. It is the intent behind it. Now, of course, each path differs significantly when it comes to tools and the kinds that they use. I practice green witchcraft, so the tools and ingredients I work with are, of course, quite practical and nature-based. But other practices use different styles of ingredients and tools, and it's really up to you what you connect with most. But don't feel the need to develop this large collection of things before beginning practice. You can begin with just what you have at your fingertips and really just with yourself. Another note to this too, if you are somebody who does want to work with tools, some of my favorite finds have come from thrift stores and flea markets. I think I have only ever bought my tools secondhand. I do cleansings with them, and I do have videos on how to do that, but I have never bought a tool for my practice new. And everything that I have not found secondhand, I have gathered and made myself from nature. So it's something that can be very, very accessible if you would like it to be. But of course, there's nothing wrong with buying new tools and ingredients either. There are no limits or rules to the type of tools that you use. Just know that they are not essential to practice. The next thing I wish I knew when I first began practicing witchcraft, and perhaps this is one of the biggest things as well, is that it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay for spells not to pan out. When you make a mistake, the worst thing that's gonna happen most of the time is that a spell is just not gonna work out. There's not going to be this big downfall and crazy energy eruption. It is just probably going to be nothing. It's okay to try and try again. Spells just don't pan out sometimes. Even to this day, I have spells that fail, and that's okay. Take time, consider what went wrong or what maybe you just didn't feel very connected to, and try again. I think I was very afraid of making mistakes, and it put my practice on pause for a long time. But genuinely, the worst thing that is gonna happen most of the time is just nothing. And finally, the very last thing that I wish I knew when I first began practicing witchcraft for this video, I will be doing a part 2, is that everybody's practice is unique. This is something I've touched on throughout this video, and if you have watched this channel for a while, then you know that it's something I say constantly. But everyone's practice truly is as unique to them as they are to the world. When I first began, I felt like there was only one way of practice, that I had to do things in a very specific way and use very specific herbs or very specific ingredients for every spell that I worked. But that just simply isn't true. We are all going to be drawn to different practices, different ways of working, different ingredients and tools. You and I could work a spell for the exact same purpose and choose to work with completely different things to achieve it, and both could have profound results. It is simply about working in a way that feels comfortable and connecting to you. Your practice is a reflection of yourself. It is your energy manifesting outside of you. And the best way to achieve that is to honor yourself and understand that practice should be unique and should be a reflection of you. Now, of course, this does not develop overnight. This is something that you will discover through time. It has taken me years to develop my practice to what it is today, and it is still ever evolving. Witchcraft will change throughout your lifetime. Again, reflection of you. It will change with you. So it's okay, especially in the beginning, to try a bunch of different styles of magic and see what feels right. And it's okay to change it up as you go. There are always going to be differences. We are not stagnant beings. We evolve. And with our own personal evolution, so must our practice. So with that, those are 5 things that I wish I knew before I began practicing witchcraft. Now, I have so many more to talk about, so if you like this video, I will make a part 2. And let me know in the comments, for those of you that have been practicing, what you wish you knew, or for those of you that are just beginning, what are things that you are confused about or struggling with? I would love to teach more. This channel should be a resource for you. It has all of the steps of building practice. I do focus very closely on green witchcraft and herbal magic, but it can lead you into other areas of magic as well. And again, I also have a book that is all about spellcraft and will bring the beginner to the intermediate. I also have a Patreon where I do monthly workshops on witchcraft topics that you all pick. It is very collaborative, and I really enjoy getting to work with you all and answer things live. They also are available for 2 weeks if you are unable to make the live stream. And on Patreon, I share all sorts of witchcraft related content, herbal profiles, book recommendations, and stuff of the sort. I also have a community there where all of you can engage with each other and work together. So if that sounds interesting to you and is something that you can do, I would really appreciate it if you checked it out. It is what keeps things running over here, so I can keep teaching and sharing. I also have a vlog channel where I share more day-to-day life, more magic and herbalism, if that is something that you find interesting as well. So all of these will be linked down below in the description if you are interested. I hope you're having a lovely day, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.